Good morning, and thank you for joining us live at 7 o'clock here. We continue to follow breaking news this morning of a structure fire on East Burnside and 104th Avenue. The video on the left of your screen is what it looked like around 6 o'clock this morning, and the video on the right is where we're at live.
Yeah, Thomas Schultz live there right now. Thomas, it looks like you may have Rick Graves with you this morning. Can you tell us the latest on this fire?
I do, yeah. Yeah, sure. We got Rick Graves, who's the spokesperson for Portland Fire and Rescue. You said you guys arrived on scene here just over an hour ago. Yeah. What did you find once you got here?
There was heavy fire throughout the entire structure. There was reports of individuals that had jumped from the structure, that was confirmed. We threw ladders quickly to make rescue. There was 8 individuals rescued from elevated floors throughout this entire fire scene. Engine 7 and Truck 7 really got here quickly. Engine 19 made a water supply. We had great coordinated efforts by the men and women who arrived to make a significant difference. Heavy water flow from a handheld hose out here in the parking lot really knocked down a bulk of the fire on what we're going to call the alpha side, the front side of the building early. Simultaneous rescues from elevated floors on this right side and the back side, the Delta and Charlie side. Incredible work done by the men and women here in Portland Fire upon early arrival. This went to a 4th alarm just to make sure we had enough personnel on scene, but we expect rescue at times like this, right? 5:52, this came in. Most people are still in their beds sleeping. Multi-occupancy structure. We know it's time to get to work, and that's what we did.
Do you know how many people were injured and taken to the hospital?
There were only 2 transported so far. That's all.
And do you know how this fire started just yet?
I'm unaware of this fire start. Our fire investigations unit is in force, and they're interviewing and beginning their forensic evaluation. But this is obviously a significant fire. They're doing what they can to narrow down the source and what's going on.
And it seems like right now you guys are moving more to that cleanup stage. Yeah. Where do we stand now?
Fire's extinguished. Everybody's out safely. We're now in the mop-up phase, and we'll be here assisting the fire investigators in some fashion throughout the day.
I know it's early, but those 2 people who were transferred to the hospital, do we have any idea what their condition is?
Well, they jumped from a window, one of them, so has a fractured or broken ankle, along with a partial thickness burn on the leg. So that's going to be a little bit of a recovery. And the other individual that was transported just had some singed skin, but no sort of traumatic injury. And all others seem to be in good condition. In fact, we had some members that were still residents of the structure, were in the structure after 10 minutes, safely sheltering in place in their apartment until we were able to gain access and make rescue.
And it looks like we talked to some residents earlier who are on the other side of the building. Do we know how many units were affected?
I'm unaware of even how many units are part of this building. So I think in the end, all units will be affected because of the structural damage on one side. They're probably going to have to take it down and start over.
And one last question for you. When you come to scene and you see people that are jumping from 2nd or 3rd floor balconies to get to safety, what is the process like once firefighters initially arrive?
Boots are on the ground right now. I mean, we train for this. We plan for rescue. We expect to perform rescue. The men and women of Portland Fire and Rescue train for this daily. It's something that is easy. We can communicate through real quick, short bites of information and get to work right now. Get the ladder, vent, enter, isolate, and search. I mean, we just practice for this. We expect it, and what you saw today is the result of what the crews prepare for.
Drew China, that's Rick Graves, the spokesperson for Portland Fire and Rescue. Of course, fire crews continue to be out here throughout the morning after responding just before 6 o'clock. Once again, dozens, more than 50 units responding to this fire. Of course, we'll stay on scene throughout the morning, bringing more information as it comes.
Hey, Thomas, I know that Rick probably has to get running there, and we appreciate all the information he gave us. Can I keep you on scene just for one quick question here? Great updates, by the way, from Rick. Everyone got out. It sounds like 2 people injured. It's amazing to know that this fire, they got the call at 5:51. That's like an hour and 15 minutes ago. And that quickly they knocked down the flames. But you did talk to a resident there. Can you tell our viewers again who are just tuning in at 7 o'clock here on Plus what that resident told you?
Yeah, Drew, that resident, he lives on the other side of the building right now. He is unsure if his unit is affected. He does have a pet inside. He has sons, but fortunately they were staying at his mom's house overnight. Very lucky there. What he told us is that this is a really tight-knit community. This is a lot of people who he knows his neighbors. He knows the people affected. He had neighbors actually texting him, even though he wasn't home. They were making sure that he had gotten out safely in case he was home. So a very tight-knit community. The landlord is also on scene, and we've seen him going up to tenants and making sure everybody's okay. Not worried about the state of the building right now, but making sure the people that live at this property all made it out safely and made it out okay. Once again, you just heard from Rick Graves. People were jumping from those third-floor balconies over just to get away from this fire. Obviously, you can see just the char and the smolder, the damage at the beginning of this building, the facade. That resident also told us that he believes this fire was set intentionally. Now, you just heard from Rick Graves there that they do not know. That process is just getting underway, if it's even started right now. They're still making sure that this is completely extinguished. Rick Graves again telling us that it is extinguished, but of course firefighters on scene continuing to monitor that smoke. But residents, again, a lot of uncertainty for them right now as they have to go through the process of what comes next after possibly being displaced. Guys?
Thomas Schultz reporting live for us. You've been doing a great job out there, Thomas. I'm sure we'll get more information as we check back in with you here in just a little bit. All right, let's head over to Rod Hill for a look at weather today.
Yeah, thank you. Good morning on a Friday to you. We have a very nice weather day coming up, but it will become noticeably warmer by about 10 degrees this afternoon. We've been around 80, so quick map, we're going to be around 90. Not clear everywhere, but pretty nice. Here's partly cloudy skies down in Salem, looking at our state capitol, the Capitol Mall, of course. 61 is the temperature. A partly cloudy scene over the West Hills from our Rose City camera looking across the Willamette. 62, we have light winds. Your planner today, really nice morning, 76 degrees at noon. And then somewhere after 2, you'll start to feel the heat returning. We'll get up to about 90, I think, at 5 o'clock. We'll have your complete weekend forecast, which is sunny and which is warm to hot. That is coming up, guys.
Thank you, Rod. Your time now is 7:07. We do have a traffic alert for you this morning. The southbound lanes of I-5 will be closed from the Ross Island Bridge to Southwest Terwilliger starting at 8 o'clock tonight until 6 o'clock Monday morning. Now, this is so crews can install real-time signs. Those are the ODOT signs that you see along I-5. They give the up-to-date minute information on traffic conditions, advisory speeds, and potential hazards. Another big story for us here live at 7 o'clock. A man accused of deliberately setting 3 fires in a North Portland park is scheduled to appear in court later today.
Yeah, investigators say the fires burned through brush in the Bluff area of North Portland that overlooks Swan Island and the Willamette River. KGW's Alma McCarty has more on this after checking out the damage.
Along the winding paths in this North Portland park.
The bluff is the bluff, man. Like, I guess now it's called the Dog Bowl.
Visitors Thursday afternoon might have seen evidence of small fires in the grass and brush.
That's fearful. That's crazy. And on top of that, it's summertime. It's way too hot for anybody to be setting anything right now.
But that's exactly what fire officials say happened Thursday morning. Crews showed up on scene around 11:15.
As they're arriving, they see an individual leaving one of the existing locations of flame in a hurry, looking rather suspicious.
A suspect later arrested and identified as 41-year-old Joel Epwan allegedly set 3 fires in an area filled with vegetation and fuels. Rick Graves with Portland Fire and Rescue says on top of that, the park's often filled with people.
There's a well-known unhoused population, and then there's many homes that sit at the top of the bluff just on the other side of a bank of trees.
A day prior, the same station that responded here tackled another vegetation fire near Delta Park. While Graves says they're unaware of the cause of this one, he says the similar situation posed similar challenges.
Accessing some of these vegetation fires is a little bit difficult. It isn't like we're driving up on a roadway, there's a hydrant to attach to, and there's a structure sitting right there. It isn't part of a designed area. It's open space.
As the weather warms and wind picks up, firefighters continue to push fire safety and vigilance.
Just be cautious when you're utilizing any open flame for whatever purpose. We're all in this together.
Portlanders like Natasha Green feel the same way.
I thank God that they were able to catch him and they were able to let, get it out, because they've all been spreading.
Alma McCarty, KGW News.
Meanwhile, a local jury found a former freelance journalist guilty of vandalizing multiple synagogues and a black-owned business. 34-year-old Michael Bivens was convicted on charges of second-degree bias crime and arson. Investigators say Bivens targeted 2 synagogues, a mosque, and a black-owned restaurant called Everybody Eats PDX during a crime spree in 2022. There you see him in court. Police arrested Bivens after he walked into a local news station and made anti-Semitic remarks indicating his involvement in these crimes.
I hope that it sends the signal that we don't tolerate that in Portland. We don't tolerate that in Multnomah County, that these crimes are extremely serious. We take them seriously and we will prosecute them. And we will take this all the way to the end and seek justice.
Bivens is set for sentencing in September. Well, we know parallel parking is no longer a requirement on the Oregon State driver's test, but we also know that some people here in Portland still believe it's a valuable skill to master. So 2 weeks ago, a parallel parking competition was held by Daniel Lyman and Casey Schreiner at the corner of 29th and Pine. They said they got this idea from a competition in Pittsburgh. The rules were simple. Don't hit the bumper, don't hit the curb, and attempt to park as cleanly and quickly as possible. Pool noodles were used to protect car bumpers, and all backup cameras were covered up. You couldn't use the backup camera? My goodness. The winner got a small trophy of a golden Subaru. That's good for Portland, right? In case you forgot how to parallel park, we dug up this video from one of Chris McGinnis's Driving Me Crazy segments from 5 years ago.
Well, even if you're a newbie, Lois Lentz of Pacific Driver Education says she's got the foolproof way to get you into that spot on the first try, every time.
Okay. All right, what we just did is line up the back of our cart here, about a 45-degree angle. Check your left side mirror. Great, straighten your wheel. Now shift to reverse.
Okay.
Turn your wheel and go straight back. And you just made a perfect parallel park. And you could have done that even if you'd been a brand new driver.
So parallel parking is easy.
It is.
I don't want to knock Chris because he's not here this morning to defend himself, but don't you find it a little fishy, Rod and China, that he picked the smallest
car we own
in our KGW fleet for that segment?
Yes. Give me a 77 Cadillac Eldorado and then try it.
Yeah, for real. I'll be the first to admit I'm not a good driver, right? I tend to miss things, signals, signs, people. But I do fancy myself to be a pretty good, for whatever reason, parallel parker.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Now, I realized when I watched that, I don't think I do use my rear view camera and I parallel park. I think I do it the old fashioned
Really?
way. Are you the
No,
same?
the car I have now has a backup camera or a rear view camera, and yes, I definitely use it.
You do? Okay,
Yeah.
all right. Well, because, anyway.
No, I use both,
mine a lot.
but-
I don't think I do when I parallel park, though. I'm just used to doing my thing. Here's a look at the Chinook Winds Casino Resort camera in Lincoln City. Weather models like you folks clearing out earlier today than you have been. Temperatures at the beach with afternoon sun 65 to 70. Right now, obviously, it's cloudy and still reduced visibility for you. Inland areas, there are some clouds, so we're not perfectly clear, but we are sunny. Here's Chinook Winds Casino. I'm sorry, the wrong verbiage coming out of my mouth. Chehalem Tasting Room camera in Sherwood. Beautiful view, 59 degrees. We'll go out to Wasco County. We're zoomed into Mount Hood, the Oregon Veterans Home camera out in the Dalles. Winds are light out in the gorge this morning, 65. So that's a pleasant start to your day. Here's downtown. Again, sunny, but not perfectly clear. We are at 62. Weather map today with afternoon sun coming to the coast. It'll be a nice afternoon. No alerts. This is a dry day. No storm chance out east today. No extreme heat. Pendleton just up to about 90. The Dalles 93. Madras 88. So a lot of 80s. Really nice for this time of the year. And upper 80s to about 90 running from Portland down through Eugene today, which will be about a 10-degree warm-up over the last couple of days. So you'll notice the heat getting turned up. We'll go 90 today. Early clouds tomorrow. If we get that, we'll probably stay shy of 90. If we don't, we'll hit 90, I think. And then 93 on Sunday. There's a cool push on Monday, 87. And that cool push on Monday may keep the extreme weather we're tracking Tuesday, Wednesday away from us. We've lowered our temperatures a bit. Right now, we're still coming up with a KGW weather impact alert to remind you to plan around the heat, 95, 98. But if things continue on the weather modeling, we'll actually lower these temperatures some more. So we'll see. At any rate, the hottest we've been so far this year is 96, and that's your forecast.
All right, thank you, Rod.
I consistently see people that you can tell are just not fully equipped if they encounter an emergency.
Did you know Skimania County rescue crews are finding people that need to be rescued? That's because they are so overwhelmed with rescue calls. We're going to hear what some local hikers had to say about this. Also, in our next few segments of Sunrise, how an 8.5-hour flight over the Atlantic turned into a day-and-a-half detour on a remote island. Yeah, pretty crazy story. You're going to want to stay tuned for this. Sunrise, streaming live at 7 o'clock, continues in 2 minutes.
The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust on your time. Track how the weather will impact your day.
It's certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
Extended, continuous coverage of breaking news live from the scene.
That snowpack is still heavy.
Go deeper with in-depth interviews and exclusive reporting. All the local news you need, live or on demand. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free. The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 20.
Rescue crews in Skimania County say they are overwhelmed and proposing a first-of-its-kind measure in the state to try to do something about it.
So they want to issue fines to hikers who they say are reckless and wasting resources. Our sister station in Seattle has more on this after talking to some hikers.
Hikers take on Washington trails to take in the stunning views, but trouble can take you down before you reach the top.
We went like late June. Apparently we should not have gone until like August.
John Morales is hiking Mount Si as part of his training for Mount Rainier. A trip to Vancouver took a turn when he and a partner ran into deep snow.
And we kind of kept going because we were like, you know, we think we can just kind of push through this.
Signs can't stop everyone at Mount Si. Hikers with the right gear say they're seeing others underestimating the mountainside.
Especially these close to Seattle ones where there are people just in tennis shoes and maybe one Mountain Dew.
Hikers are finding themselves in trouble beyond the parking lot because of high heat, steep climbs, and later sunsets. It's why the Skimania County Sheriff is proposing a $1,000 fine for hikers who aren't prepared.
You know, as far as fines, I guess I can see the thought process behind it.
I would emphasize good footwear and hydration.
If somebody is prepared, in great shape for the hike that they're doing, and simply has an accident, that's not what this ordinance is for.
The fines would be issued to hikers who the county deems are recklessly ill-prepared and then require a costly rescue. Skimania County deputies are seeing a surge in rescue calls this summer, 42 in the first half of the year compared with 54 total last year.
I think it was on the 4th of July. A gentleman called he called that he was convulsing and had a medical issue. It was a 7-hour hike for our volunteers to get to him. And then he said, no, thank you. I don't want your help at all.
The sheriff says the ordinance would follow the state's legal definitions for recklessness or negligence, not for those who fall on bad luck. There are a handful of steps before it reaches county commissioners and public comment. John Rogers wonders how it would be enforced.
And I consistently see people that you can tell are just not fully equipped if they encounter an emergency.
King County search and rescue volunteers say they've responded to 27 missions since Memorial Day. Mount Si is one of the most popular and problematic.
All right, check this out. Today is July 11th, or 7-Eleven, and it means it is free Slurpee Day at all 7-Eleven stores. Our Sunrise photographer, Chad Dehart, went to a local one and snagged us a few to try earlier this morning. Now, I'm not trying this one because this is the OG Coca-Cola, the one that I love to get, and I haven't had this since probably 2009.
You said you're not going to try that?
I'm not trying something new.
Oh, okay, got it. Rob, what do you have there?
It is the grape flavored one.
Wow.
I just think the fruit ones are just overly sweet. That's just my opinion. I like the Coke.
You put the spoon.
What happened there, China?
I don't remember it being this sweet.
Oh. You got the special Slurpee straw with that kind of that shovel end. That goes in first, right? Obviously.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Oh, that's right. You're new to this, aren't you?
I'm new to the Slurpee thing. Not really a Slurpee guy. And I did not want to try that one. Apparently, it's a Mountain Dew Slurpee.
Yeah. Okay.
I also don't do Mountain Dews. I don't think I've ever tasted a Mountain Dew in my life.
Are you serious?
And
You've never done the Dew?
I've never
done the Dew. Even after all those TV commercials.
No, they said do the Dew. No, I'm not going to do the Dew.
What
It tastes
flavor?
like Mountain Dew. This is the Coke one. For whatever
Coke?
reason, it tastes like
Mountain Dew. What's Drew have?
floor cleaner.
Cherry. Is it
Why don't we
too
do this?
sweet or is it good?
It's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine.
How about we do this? We put it straws in mouths and we just start going. And the first person has to tap out from a brain freeze loses. Are you in?
Are you serious?
Okay.
No,
Yeah,
I don't want to do that. You want to do it?
Let's do it. Come on.
1, 2, 3. Oh, got it.
Really? You know, I was hoping someone would tap out.
I didn't get a brain freeze, but my throat got too cold to continue. Does that make sense? I was like, this is cold.
God,
hurting
this lasts
right now.
forever. Woof.
Do not call 911. This is not an emergency, but we could call that non-emergency hotline if it's that bad.
We're good.
This is exciting television. We thank you for watching.
That's why I thought we shouldn't do it. It could go on forever.
Horrible.
It really is cold. All right. Next week. Yesterday we highlighted on our 7 days. Matt did, I think, Wednesday night for a KGW weather impact alert for next Tuesday and Wednesday for what could be the hottest weather we have seen so far this year. The hottest we've been so far is 96. This is the latest, and this is a map that suggests that maybe we don't get as hot as what we were thinking. This is Wednesday of next week. Hot ridge that was more over the west coast, now shifting out to sea a little bit. A cool push, this is actually Monday that comes through, and this is that cool push on Wednesday, could send us cooler air and keep us out of the extreme heat. Now, for now, there are still some indices that suggest we could be 90s to maybe 100 degrees, but most of the data this morning is starting to point to a cooler trend. Not cool, but not 100 degrees or better. So for now, just note we're still watching this Tuesday, Wednesday of next week. Impact alert up for potential 95 to 100 degree heat. Heat exhaustion, stroke, shade, water, sunscreen, you know the drill. And you would want to plan around this situation. But maybe we only end up being like low to mid 90s. We'll keep you updated on that potential heat for Tuesday, Wednesday of next week. We do know there are no alerts today. It's a dry forecast, all areas across our 2 region. We do have fog at the coast this morning, expected to clear. Now this is interesting because we're clear on the west side, looking out to the west over the Reserve Vineyards and Golf Club in Aloha. But you go to Persimmon Golf Club up in Gresham on the east side, obviously, and you have clouds. And what's interesting is Futurecast showed this yesterday. It showed some low clouds mainly on the east side this morning. So if that's correct, that's an example of technology being pretty good. Here are some clouds. This is more central location, of course, over the West Hills from the Oregon Zoo this morning. 62 in Portland, 61 in Salem, and 61 in Kelso. As you look at current temperatures, pretty similar to where we have been. Here are the latest 7-day numbers. We will heat up today instead of 80, 90, and then 88, 93, 87. 95, 98 Tuesday, Wednesday of next week, maybe. Keep updated. We think we will be able to further lower those numbers in the coming days. We'll see. We'll be back in a moment.
Welcome back to Sunrise. A trip to a remote island may sound exotic, it may sound exciting, but maybe not when it's unexpected and unplanned. So this morning we're hearing from passengers who spent more than 24 hours stuck on a remote island in the Atlantic Ocean after their Delta Airlines flight had to make an emergency landing. NBC's Tom Costello has the story.
It was supposed to be an 8.5-hour flight from Madrid to New York's JFK Airport. But roughly a third of the way over the Atlantic, passengers reported a loud noise. Delta Airlines says an engine problem forced Flight 127, an Airbus A330, to make a sharp left turn and make an emergency landing at the closest airport, an Air Force base in the Azores, Portugal's remote island chain in the middle of the Atlantic. In a statement, Delta says the flight landed safely and we sincerely apologize to our customers for their experience and delay in their travels. But it wasn't a quick stopover. The unexpected detour lasted 29 hours.
We spent the last 24 hours in these outfits because they didn't give us our bags.
The pilot reassured the passengers the plane can fly on one engine. Delta says it provided the customers with meals and hotels, though some booked on their own. Ken Elder, a Delta Platinum passenger, took photos of the postcard beautiful island, but says he and others felt abandoned.
The handling of all of us and what was going on was not good. I had 5 in my group. All of us were on the phones with Delta. We were never offered accommodations. We were never offered any help with food or anything else.
Again, it was Tom Costello reporting for us this morning. Meanwhile, this is our big breaking news story this morning on Sunrise. A huge structure fire in Portland's east side. This was an apartment complex over by 104th and Burnside, engulfed in flames about an hour and a half ago. Firefighters have knocked those flames down. We'll have the latest in a live report coming up here at 7:30.
The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust on your time. Track how the weather will impact your day.
Certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
Extended, continuous coverage of breaking news, live from the scene.
That snowpack is still heavy.
Go deeper with in-depth interviews and exclusive reporting. All the local news you need, live or on demand. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free.
Good morning on a Friday. I'm meteorologist Rod Hill. We have a nice day coming, but it will warm up about 10 degrees over the last couple of days. You'll notice the heat this afternoon. This morning, we are clear to partly cloudy across most of the region. There is our live camera down in Salem, 61 degrees. Partly cloudy skies over downtown Portland currently. 62 is the number. Winds are light. And here is your day planner. Really nice morning, 76 degrees at noon, but there comes the hotter weather. We've been about 80 the last couple of days. Today, we'll get up to about 90 degrees. Here's the 7-day. We still have alerted Tuesday and Wednesday of next week for potential hot weather. But latest trends are starting to show maybe we'll escape the hotter temperatures. For now, we're going 95, 98 Tuesday or Wednesday of next week, but keep yourself updated. If you have concerns over those 2 days, there is an opening that we may be lowering those temperatures. 90 today, 88 tomorrow. It's going to be a sunny weekend. 93 Sunday. Overall, a hot one. 87, a bit of a break on Monday.
Starting our 7:30 half-hour sunrise with the breaking news we've been covering since 6 o'clock this morning. This is an apartment complex over near 104th and East Burnside. Huge fire there this morning. This is a drone shot from our crew that's covering the story that shows just how badly damaged that apartment complex is. We can also show you what it looked like at 6 o'clock this morning. There it is on your screen. The video there to your left showing what those flames looked like before Portland Fire and Rescue was able to knock it down. They got to the scene quickly. They did the job quickly. Thomas Schultz is also live there this morning.
Yeah, Drew, look, these are people that are just out here. These are all tenants here, right? These are people we've talked to today who lived right on this side of the building and were evacuated, had to rush down the stairs to try to avoid the fire. And it's just kind of unfathomable how immense this fire was. Of course, a huge response from Portland Fire and Rescue. I want to show you right over here. We're just right on Burnside. There's fire trucks and fire vehicles as far as the eye can see. Fortunately, that fire is now extinguished. But look, this is a fire that brought more than 50 units out here, and right now they're moving back the police tape, and there's a lot of residents here just sitting here, standing there, and have nowhere else to go. You can see this guy right here in the scrubs. He was on his way to work. He got pulled out by firemen, he tells us. The man he's talking to actually is the landlord, who all morning long has been going around talking to tenants, making sure everybody is okay. One tenant told us that, look, the landlord's not concerned at all about the building right now. He's concerned about his tenant's safety and making sure that everybody got out safely. Portland Fire and Rescue tells us that 2 people were taken to the hospital. Some people were jumping from 3rd floor balconies to escape the fire. As soon as fire rescue got here, they were placing ladders against the building, getting people out as quickly as they could. Again, tenants tell us that the fire rescue was actually breaking into windows and pulling people out to get them out of this flame as quickly as possible. I also want to bring up another man we talked to who says he was coming back from work. He's got a pet in the building right now. He's really concerned about his animal. Here's a little bit more about what he had to tell us today.
My main concern was I have my other little 4-legged baby in there, and so I didn't know what type of condition or if she was in harm. So I was just making sure that she was okay if she got out. I knew that my sons were already with their grandmother, so it wasn't like that much of a heartthrob unless my kids were here. But I've had my dog ever since she was just a little puppy, so I just wanted to make sure she was safe.
But now the main thing for many here, whether they are displaced or not, is just determining what's next. Of course, you can see just a completely destroyed side of this building here. The resident you just heard from believes this fire was set intentionally, though that has not been confirmed by police or by Portland Fire and Rescue. Portland Fire and Rescue says that's under investigation right now. They just extinguished the fire about 45 minutes ago, so that's just the next step of the process. But again, one more time, a lot of people over here standing around, talking to the landlord, sitting on the ground, waiting to figure out what's next for them and where they go from here. Drew, China.
Thomas, thank you. There is still a lot of news developing out of that story. I think one of the craziest things is that we got the footage of it completely engulfed in flames, and then within 45 minutes later, we had Rick Graves on air saying the fire's completely out.
No, there was an amazing response this morning. They said it went to a 4th alarm. Firefighters deserve a lot of credit for that fire not spreading.
And I don't know anything about fires, but it seems unusual, I want to say, just how quickly it became just an engulfed flame.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, that video is something we don't see in the news business that often.
But Rick Graves, again, with Portland Fire and Rescue, saying a lot of it has to do with people, being asleep at that time, not being able to respond quickly, and before they know what's going on, it's already a huge situation.
Okay, we have weather-wise a beautiful day. It is a day that will be noticeably hotter than what it has been. Here's our Chehalem tasting room camera out in Sherwood. Beautiful, mostly sunny sky, we will call it. 61 degrees is the number there. Mostly sunny, we'll call it, over downtown Portland, 62. Winds are light, gorgeous weather. Nice morning, 76 degrees at noon. Again, the last 2 days we've just hit 80. I think today we might just hit 90. Your entire weekend will be sunny and near 90 to above. We'll have your 7-day coming up in the show, and we'll update the numbers we think for Tuesday and Wednesday when we're tracking potential really hot weather coming our direction. Back to you.
Thank you, Rod. A big story here live at 7:30. More than 30 years after a Washington County woman was murdered, her case is being reopened. In 1994, 85-year-old Evita Hardbeck was found dead at her home in Gaston. At first, investigators thought that she died of natural causes, but an autopsy confirmed that she was killed. The case went cold, but now 31 years later, it's getting a second look after the DA's office got a grant to search for new DNA. We spoke to Hardbeck's daughter about the case.
This was so surprising to me when the police called and said they were opening the case. It really startled me because, to me, that was in the past. I was beyond that. Now they brought it all up again, and everything's kind of coming to light.
Hardbeck's case was one of more than a dozen eligible for review by a newly reopened cold case unit.
Portland police say they've arrested a man accused of stabbing and killing another man last year. According to court documents, 61-year-old Ronnie Scott and 73-year-old Kenny Hausman had an argument last July about homeless campers and RVs parked along Clinton Street in southeast Portland. Scott told police that Hausman hit him with a stick, so that's why Scott says he stabbed him in the chest. Hausman died from that stabbing. Scott was arrested last year but was released without any charges. Then on Wednesday of this week, police arrested Scott again after a grand jury recently indicted him. He's now charged with manslaughter and assaults. Oregon Senator Ron Wyden has extended an invitation to President Trump's border czar, Tom Homan, to extend a Multnomah County town hall, or to attend, that is, a Multnomah County town hall next month.
Now, this comes after Homan said on Fox News that he plans to visit Portland after questions about protests and some criminal activity that's been continuing outside of the South Portland ICE facility for weeks now. In a letter yesterday, Wyden said it would be good for Homan to hear directly from Oregonians about what they think of the administration's immigration policies. Homan shared this message for protesters.
You have the right to protest. I support that. But when you cross a line on impeding us, you're going to be arrested. If you cross the line and put hands on an ICE officer, zero tolerance, you're going to be arrested. So yell and scream all you want. You're not going to stop ICE from doing our job.
So far, Homeland Security has not confirmed Homan is visiting, and the mayor's office says it hasn't received any communication on the matter.
Oregon's other senator, Jeff Merkley, just announced that he will run for a fourth term. So Merkley says a big part of the decision to run for re-election in 2026 is to rally against the Trump administration, which he says is a threat to democracy, freedom, and economic justice. Merkley says the demands of the job, including constant cross-country travel, are real. But he says he considered things with his wife, and together they decided he should keep going.
And just as I'm calling on others to do everything they can to stop this vision of families lose and billionaires win, to stop the strongman state, then Mary and I felt that we had to be in the battle as well.
But I think you really as the top Democrat on the Senate Budget Committee, Merkley says he wants to keep pushing back against what we just heard him say a moment ago, what he calls the Republicans' family lose, billionaires win agenda. We know President Trump and the First Lady are heading to Texas today for a first-hand look at the damage caused by last weekend's flash flooding. At least 120 people have been confirmed dead and over 170 are still missing. This as questions are still being asked about the state's flood warning system. NBC's Alice Barr has more.
1 week after the floodwaters came rushing in, President Trump traveling to Central Texas today for a first-hand look at the broken heart of a national tragedy. As an army of volunteers joins more than 2,000 first responders working to reunite victims with their families.
We'll stay until we get it done. Yeah. And we want them to have closure.
Questions are mounting about whether more could have been done to get people out of harm's way. President Trump telling NBC News in a phone interview that while local officials loved the victims here and no one saw this coming, quote, in retrospect, after having seen this horrible event, I would imagine you'd put alarms up. Records from a 2016 Kerr County meeting show a former commissioner called the flood warning system pretty antiquated. And now new questions over how quickly local alerts went out.
Is there any way we can send a code red out to our Hunt residents asking them to find higher ground or stay home?
At the federal level, the White House adamant funding cuts did not hinder the National Weather Service in issuing warnings, while putting President Trump's calls to phase out FEMA on hold.
Well, FEMA is something we can talk about later, but right now they're busy working, so we'll leave it at that.
Amid so much devastation from Camp Mystic and all along the Guadalupe River, a local artist gathering photos for a wall of hope.
Thinking that there's a family suffering behind each of those pictures really brings home the feeling of honoring the people that were lost.
Looking to highlight the deep love in profound loss. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
And the flooding in Texas is raising questions about flood warning systems here in the Northwest. Emergency officials say a lot of the process starts with the National Weather Service. The Portland office is staffed 24/7, 365, monitoring and forecasting the latest weather. Their goal is to get the message out to the public about what's coming so people can plan accordingly. The NWS has partnerships with emergency management and the government to help spread weather warnings up to several days in advance. Oregon also relies on the federal government with the Army Corps of Engineers managing 21 dams in the region to prevent flooding disasters. In the event of incoming devastating events like flooding, the Oregon Department of Emergency Management would also be involved to help with critical resources.
Resources could be anything from volunteer programs to the fire assets, fire resources, and support for the Oregon State Fire Marshal's Office, sometimes for Oregon Department of Forestry, bringing in FEMA to bring additional resources if needed. It just depends.
To make sure you're in the loop about severe weather, you can use alert tools like OR Alert, which covers all jurisdictions excuse me, in the state. You can also watch KGW Sunrise to hear our very own Rod Hill talk about any weather alerts coming our way.
I'm going to jump in there and help you out, and then I realized I thought I was going to sneeze. So we've got sneezing and coughing happening here in the studio, Rod. You're lucky that you're there in the weather.
Yes. You guys recall a handful of years back, a lot of news with tsunami warning networks here in Oregon and Washington and down into California, and that was basically, alarm horns that were used basically. We have a similar situation for tornadoes in many of the cities back in tornado country. And you got to wonder if that's something that will be looked at too, to maybe target some of the most high-risk rivers, especially coming out of our mountainous terrain, where we would have a similar type, alarm horns put out in the country that could be turned on. Because when these events happen in the middle of the night, well, it's really troublesome to catch people's attention and let them know they need to go to a safer area. This is Mount Hood Live, obviously our Timberline camera. Beautiful weather this morning. 55 degrees, up at 6,000 feet. Downtown Portland, our Rose City camera, we are at 62. Other temperatures, 56 in that story. We have clouds and low cloudiness up and down the coast, expected to clear this afternoon. Otherwise, it's mainly sunny across our entire region. 65 out in the Dow, 62 in John Day. This will be a dry day, no thunderstorm threat anywhere, and for the most part, no extreme temperatures either, although we are going to be getting closer to 90 here in Portland and probably at least reaching 90 in Salem especially. Lucy is our KGW Dog of the Day on this Friday. Use the email address dogoftheday@kgw.com. Send us your dog's photo. There's Lucy with 1 ear up and name, and your dog will become our Dog of the Day. So here's the map for later today. No extreme heat, but we're starting to get back into more of us hitting 90. Pendleton 90, the Dow's 94. At 5 o'clock, this shows Portland upper 80s. We may hit 90. Albany shows up 90 degrees at 5 o'clock. Tillamook shows up with afternoon sun and 70 degrees. And here is that updated 7-day. So 90 today or close to it, 88 tomorrow, 93 Sunday. Generally speaking, just a sunny, warm to hot weekend. The latest on our KGW weather impact alert for the hot weather that we are tracking Tuesday and Wednesday. We've actually lowered the number somewhat. 95 Tuesday, 98 Wednesday. And if the current forecast trend continues, we actually would lower those numbers some more. So right now there's good news on that front. That's your update for now.
All right, thank you, Rod. Coming up next here on Sunrise, President Trump's big, beautiful bill includes, among many other things, no taxes on workers, tips, and overtime. Sounds good, right? But is it really that simple? We're going to take a look at the fine print on that part of the bill coming up next when Sunrise, streaming live at 7 o'clock, continues.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stay informed, prepared, and connected with KGW and KGW Plus. Coverage that alerts you to what's coming and how it will impact you. Watch extended weather coverage on KGW Plus. The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust. Track how the weather will impact your day. Breaking news, live from the scene. All the local news you need. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free.
weather impact alert.
We could expect conditions in some parts of our area to change drastically pretty soon, right?
And very quickly, yes.
This is significant rainfall coming our way.
You'll definitely want to be extra cautious.
Certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
We've got the potential for some tree limbs or even trees or power lines to come down.
Of course, when you hear thunder, it's always best to take cover.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stream extended coverage on KGW+.
Part of President Trump's big, beautiful bill covers a campaign promise he made to workers last fall. No tax on tips or overtime. But some people say it's more complicated than it sounds. CNN's Karen Kaifa breaks down who it covers and when.
The bill that the president signed last week is packed with these kinds of campaign trail promises, but the new tax rules on tips and OT come with some strings attached. The White House says that with the signing of the One Big Beautiful Bill Act on July 4th, the president fulfilled a campaign promise of no taxes on tips or overtime. But tax experts say workers won't feel relief in their next paycheck. Employers will still withhold federal taxes from tips and overtime through the end of 2025. Instead, eligible workers will have to wait until next tax season for either a bigger refund or a reduced tax payment.
There's no benefit right now. It's going to be when they file their tax return, and then do they meet the criteria? Do they have support?
Tom O'Sabin of the National Association of Tax Professionals says that tax professionals are still seeking clarity from the IRS in some areas of the new law, like specifics on eligible workers. What they do know is that workers in jobs that traditionally receive tips will be able to deduct up to $25,000 in tip income from their federal income taxes on their 2025 tax return. And workers who receive overtime could deduct up to $12,500 of that extra pay. Income limits will apply, and the tax break is temporary through the end of 2028. O'Sabin says the changes make it even more important for workers to track their tips.
Documentation becomes even more important. Otherwise, the deduction won't apply because it could be challenged by IRS and disallowed.
And the new federal law doesn't change tax law for individual states. State income taxes still apply to both tips and overtime. O'Sabin also says if workers want to get the benefit of the new law sooner, they can consider adjusting their withholding after the IRS offers some more clarity on guidelines and eligibility, or they can just wait for tax season in the spring. In Washington, I'm Karen Kaifa.
And in a look at what's trending this morning, after a decade, YouTube is shutting down its trending video page. The page will be phased out over the next couple of weeks because YouTube says fewer people are using it. YouTube will still continue to do their personalized recommendations, though. All right, the original Hermes Birkin bag made for actress and singer Jane Birkin sold at auction yesterday for more than $10 million. Yeah, the sale made the bag the second most valuable fashion item ever sold at auction. After Hermes exclusively commissioned the bag for Jane back in 1984, the company later released the design to the public, becoming one of the world's most exclusive luxury items.
I'm glad you delivered that story because I've never heard of any of those items. Hermes?
Hermes.
Hermes, that's the name of it. Have you heard of Hermes?
I've heard of the fancy bag she talked about.
And then the actress is Jane Birkin?
Birkin.
I've never heard of Jane. Have you heard of Jane Birkin, Rod?
I can't say that, but I'm familiar with the name of the bag.
The Birkin bags, just to put it in perspective for you.
Okay,
Birkin.
Perspective coming. We're getting perspective.
It's called, I'm trying to find it.
Here's a perspective. Most people have a $50.
Why don't you read how much these bags are going for?
These bags, Rod and viewing audience, are going, oh, what the heck? $470,000 on eBay?
Yep.
$14,000. Well, I could do the 14,000. No,
you can't.
I'm kidding. 470,000, 350,000, 345,980.
Yeah, and it's a type of brand where you could have millions, but if you walk into Hermes, like they have to approve. I'm
Me walking through the door?
No, they have to approve giving you, like they don't just because you have money doesn't mean that you can buy it. Like they have to approve.
Well,
from what I've heard, I have never been in that room, but that's what I've heard.
Let's see how they react when I tell them I have no money. I have got no money. What do you got to say about that?
Check out the guy's holy socks and dirty shoes that just walked in our south entrance. Escort him out, please.
Yes, please.
Right?
Hermes.
Okay, that's clearly a story for people who never have to ask what anything is in the world because they have endless supplies of money, right? Nothing really has value. They just hand over the green stuff they have unlimited amounts of. All right, here's our air mass tracking map. This is next Wednesday. It still shows hot weather for the most part bullseyeing over the west, but there are some slight changes that will be favorable for us if they continue, in that we won't be as hot next week as what we were thinking. And one of the changes here, this hot weather was more bullseyed, even the yellows out west. Now it's kind of flattening, pushing to the south and kind of sprawling out. This cool push of air that actually originates on Monday, where you see the green and the blue, look at that kind of feeding into us. So there are growing signs that we may get to continue to back off on next week's heat forecast. For now, we still have an alert up telling you to pay attention to updates on Tuesday and Wednesday for what could still potentially be the hottest weather we have seen so far this year. Here's the upper level map. This is Wednesday European model. There's that cold low over the Hudson Bay that might be a big enough player to keep the hottest weather out over the Pacific and to our south. Now, if you look at all the indices, you still come up with 90s, and you still come up with an outside chance of seeing 100-degree temperatures. So for now, we still have the impact alert up for next Tuesday and Wednesday. The PM hours, of course, exhaustion, heat stroke, shade, water, sunscreen, planning around the heat, still recommended. But there's signs that we may get to lower the temperatures. We have a clear sky day for the most part coming. Minus morning clouds and fog at the beach. That's still the case right now. Inland areas, I mean, there's some clouds. It's not perfectly clear, but it's pretty nice out there. 62 Marcia Halem tasting room camera. Let's stick with the wine country theme. This is more of a clear sky over the Dundee Hills. That's the camera in Yamhill County from Domain Serene Winery. 61 Kelso, 62 Portland, 63 Salem, 60 in Eugene, and about the same in Bend, 61 and 61 out in Baker City this morning. Forecast numbers at the beach, expecting afternoon clearing, 65 to 70. Fog and low clouds there right now. Valley forecast continues to be mostly sunny to clear. Temperature is getting up to around 90 degrees. That showed Salem at 91. Again, 8 to 10 degrees warmer today than what it has been the last couple of days. This shows Battleground and Longview holding in the 80s. Portland has a chance to hit 90, 88 tomorrow, 93 Sunday. Might be some early clouds tomorrow. There's that wave of cooler weather Monday, 87. Now, we've lowered Tuesday to 95. We've lowered Wednesday to 98 with the impact alert. But guess what? We might get to lower those temperatures some additional degrees. We'll see. We'll be back. More of our Sunrise Show after this.
The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust on your time. Track how the weather will impact your day.
It's certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
Extended, continuous coverage of breaking news live from the scene.
That snowpack is still heavy.
Go deeper with in-depth interviews and exclusive reporting. All the local news you need, live or on demand. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free.
It has been a week full of beautiful weather and warm temps, and we are expecting more of it this weekend. If you're looking to take advantage of all the sunshine, we've got a couple great events in the area to check out. We'll start with the return of the Original Practice Shakespeare Festival. It brings the iconic playwright's works to life outdoors each summer. They have 3 shows planned this Friday and Saturday at Laurelhurst Park. That includes Hamlet, an abridged version of Twelfth Night, and Love's Labor's Lost. It's also free to attend. For showtimes and more, head to opsfest.org. If you're looking for another way to get outside, Selwood Community House is hosting a picnic in the park on Friday. It takes place from 6 to sunset at, you guessed it, Selwood Park. They're offering boxed dinners to enjoy with some live music. It'll cost you $14 for an adult boxed dinner and $7 for kids. SelwoodCommunityHouse.org has all the information. For more of maybe a party atmosphere, the city of Tualatin is hosting Viva Tualatin this Saturday. It's a celebration of the diverse community that makes up the city. There will be a water slide, a mechanical bull, crafts, a giant coloring mural, and a lineup of local vendors. It goes from 2 to 8 p.m. and is free to attend. For more info, head to the City of Tualatin's website. And if you're like me and you love to thrift, the Rose City Vintage Market returns this Saturday and Sunday at the Expo Center. For those 2 days, vendors from across the Northwest will have everything from art, antiques, fashion to toys and more. Tickets can cost you anywhere from $10 to $30. For details, check out rosecityvintagemarket.com. And finally, why not check out the legendary Makers Market in Beaverton? Oregon's largest Asian food festival will span both Saturday and Sunday this weekend at the Patricia Research Center for the Performing Arts. It'll feature more than 150 vendors. Dozens will be food specific, and also they'll have special outdoor performances. For more details, you can check out legendarymakersmarket.com. For more weekend inspiration, you can check out our 8 Things to Do article. It is up each week at kgw.com.
KGW News at Sunrise continues live at 8 o'clock on KGW Plus with more breaking news coverage of the large apartment complex fire on Portland's east side. Sunrise reporter Thomas Schultz will bring us a live update.